Hello, my name is Sven Ahlbäck, and together with my colleagues at Doremi Music Research, I developed a software for simpler, faster and more intuitive music notation, which is called ScoreCleaner. We'd like to think of ScoreCleaner as a virtual notation assistant. Being a music teacher and a musician, I've always desired a tool to help me go straight from musical idea to music notation. Say you're in the middle of a class or ensemble rehearsal and need to notate something for your students. ScoreCleaner lets you do exactly that. I'll show you briefly how it works. When you open ScoreCleaner, you face an empty staff system in the listener window. To notate music, you just use your MIDI keyboard and start to play. First you check that it sounds. Yes. And then we start to play. And what you have here is the key set pressed and roughly for how long. But you cannot actually use this as a music notation. So to get a useful music notation, you need to double click on the recorded area. And here you are. This notation says that it's in 4/4 time, it's in D major, it has notated the note values. And you know, I haven't made any presets, I didn't play along to a click track, and I played with natural timing, with the rubato and ritardando, as you usually do. And it also found out which voices I played, and I didn't really think about that when I was playing. It was 3 different voices. So, in order to get something that I can use for my student, the only thing I need to do is type in some song info, like this is Twinkle. And I'm not the composer, but it's my arrangement and it's for piano. And I press OK, and then it's just to print it out or send it as a PDF. It's very easy to use ScoreCleaner for arranging music also. For instance, let me try to improvise something here. Well, yeah, I can select the start of this, and then I choose crop to selection. And I don't then analyze the whole thing. So I can improvise, jam, and then select something that I want to use. So I double click on this, and then we get just the initial riff. 4 bars, so I double click once more, and then I get another song. To duplicate these 4 bars, just drag it like that. Then it's 4 times. And then I'd like actually to add something more, maybe something like a guitar. I have to count in. Yes, now we suddenly have a guitar voice. Well, I'd like this part to be played by one instrument, so I drag the second voice here into the first voice, and then I get chords. And from there, I'd like to add yet another voice, so I click the overdub. So let's try this with different instruments. So now we select instruments, and I select acoustic bass here. You do guitar here, electric guitar, and some other guitar, like overdriven guitar. So let's see. So in almost no time at all, I created an arrangement without thinking about anything else than music. One thing that is important to know is that ScoreCleaner doesn't know any songs and it doesn't know any styles. So it doesn't know what you play. So it's very easy to get the notation from ScoreCleaner, even if the most well-known song that is not what you desire. So for instance, if I open a bad recording I've made of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, it sounds like this. As you could hear, I was resting too long on the second measure's end phrase ending, and I made an abrupt change to the fourth measure. And ScoreCleaner doesn't know that Twinkle Twinkle Star is usually notated in 4/4. So let's look at it. And here we get 5/4. We don't want that, and we also get a rest, and we don't want that. So let's change this. It's very easy actually, ScoreCleaner, to edit your interpretation. So I want the music to start already in the first beat, and then I click metrical phase button and shift metrical phase to the left, and I get rid of the initial rest. And then I decrease the time numerator, so I shift time numerator down and it becomes 4/4. I could also do this by double clicking on the time signature itself. And now it's much better. In the beginning it sounds alright. But still, I want this measure to start here. So I take the bar line and drag it to the position where I want it. But still, this note was too short, so I take the bar line and drag it to that position. Okay, so I can easily do some extra edits. I can take away the rests, simple enough. And for instance, if I think something was too hard for me to play, I can edit by clicking on a beat and substitute the notes there, like this. So you see, I can type in the music beat by beat in free tempo. At this point, I can also, for instance, add lyrics, add chords, and export song as music XML, and then open it in a more advanced note editing program. And you can do a lot of other things, so you can get exactly the notation you want. Sometimes people ask me, how straight do you have to play to get a good notation of ScoreCleaner? So let's try the limit of ScoreCleaner. Could be like this. It was started much slower than it became. This is a nightmare for a computer. So let's see what ScoreCleaner makes of this. What ScoreCleaner does, it does take away all the tempo changes. So now we have something which is very strict. So with just a few changes I can put this on the note stand Thanks for watching. Check out the website for more info. Bye.